Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon on this Friday afternoon. It is April 21st. This is AMS Live. My name is Boy and we are standing alongside the Polderbaan for some takeoffs in the afternoon to fly into the weekend. In the distance we see an A350 from Delta Airlines taxiing to the runway threshold. It is Delta Airlines Flight 75, destination unknown according to flight radar. It is an A350-900 and it is 3 years old, and that's all I can say about it. Unfortunately. So, as you guys can see, it is overcast, it is a bit hazy, although I do see some blue sky further out. Wind is blowing mostly from the east at the moment. Runway 09 is also open for departures as we speak. The current air temperature is about 12 degrees centigrade, so that is 54 degrees Fahrenheit. We are not expecting any precipitation. At least not in this part of the country. Now you guys can see that these airplanes are taking off with crosswind from the right. It's almost perpendicular to the runway heading. Now the backdrop is a bit hazy. I haven't tested yet how far we can follow the airplanes. It seems to be better now than it was last week, when after less than a minute of leaving the ground the airplanes disappeared into the clouds. Now my camera is starting to get difficulties focusing on it. Okay, so it's not optimal by a long shot, but it's better than it was last time we were here. In the meantime, a KLM Embraer 175 outbound to Bremen has lined up. KLM flight 1755, 6 years old. First flight was in July 2016. Bit of a slow start there, but in the end a regular takeoff, it seems. I was thinking about going to 06 again as where I was standing last Monday, but looking at the arrivals today, this afternoon, there weren't a lot of heavies coming in anymore. So I figured I might as well then go to the Polderbaan, where parking is at least more or less certain, and we also will see more heavies outbound, one of which will hopefully be the A380 from Emirates that will depart again later this afternoon to Dubai. That of course will depend on runway usage. If 09 is open at the time of its departure, then there is a chance that we will not see it come this way to take off in front of us. So fingers crossed that by then we will have only this runway open for departures. In the meantime, a lot of activity already going on in the chat. Paul Usher, good afternoon mate, hope you're doing well. Arjan, goeiemiddag, good afternoon. Zensi Boy, goedemiddag. Koenie Linux, goedemiddag. Erwin Pol, goedemiddag. Rick Meester, goedemiddag man. Hoe is het weer daar bij jou? Mats Bjorn, good afternoon. Aviation Spotting NL, good afternoon. How do I get such good internet to stream from Schiphol? Well, I have a dedicated SIM card that I use with unlimited data, and I have a dedicated wireless router. And I only use that for streaming, so everything I do on my phone is on the internet connection that is on my mobile phone. Although I saw that last Monday the stream did suffer from low bitrate. Not sure if that's because of interference of many more Wi-Fi signals. There are also more companies in the vicinity of the Kaagbaan. So I imagine that there's also more radio interference on that location than over here, where I'm standing in a grass field with not a lot of buildings in the direct vicinity. Yorkshire Biker, good afternoon mate, hope you're doing well. Tina York, good afternoon, hope you're well. Hope everybody had a good week, and hopefully I can provide you a great start of a new weekend. FJWH, yeah, for sure, mate. Gisela, good afternoon. Hope you're doing well. Good to see you again. Surich, good afternoon. A lot of familiar names and also some new names to the chat. Welcome, everybody. Hey there, Wilma. Goedemiddag. Hope you're doing well. Wendy, goedemiddag. Good to see you again. Aaron Paul, did I already say hi to you? If not, good day to you, good to see you again. If not, hello again. Henky, goedemiddag, good afternoon. Senatortome, good afternoon. Delta goes to Atlanta. Okay, so apparently you know more than I know from Flight Radar. I saw that before, that Flight Radar not always provides the destination information. And Kuni still has the flu so late in the season. I spoke with a lot of people over the last couple of weeks who were also still under the weather. I think it has to do with the poor weather we've had so far this season. Although it is spring, still not very spring-like, as you guys can see. Ant-Man checking in from Brisbane, where it is evening already, 4 days to go, and on his way to Holland. The countdown has finally begun. Hopefully by then the weather will be a bit better than it has been so far. Leen Verschoor, goedemiddag, good to see you, hope you're well. And it's been 13 years, the Ant-Man writes, since he's been to the Netherlands, so a lot has changed, undoubtedly. Roadhog, good afternoon, goedemiddag, good to see you again, hope you're doing well, mate. And Rick making me jealous, saying that it is sunny over there in the north in Leeuwarden. Looking at the weather radar, you can see that there's an area of precipitation that is lying just to the north of Schiphol. If I turn around the camera to the north, zoom out a little bit, you guys can probably tell as well, this is towards the north, and you can see that it is a bit darker over on that side than when I turn around the camera to the south or southwest. This is towards the southwest. You can even see that there are some patches of blue sky between the clouds. Now the wind is blowing from the east, more or less 80 degrees, so more or less directly from the east, so that would be this direction. You can also see over here at the fire station, the windsock. Hey, there is, I think, that Coast Guard plane again. Now where? So it is on its way, probably back to the Schiphol Oostbaan to land. Now you guys can probably hear already that there's also an airplane approaching. That would be this 737 from KLM. In the background, more traffic is coming this way. It seems that the 737 is also going to take off in front of us. There you go, the lights are on already. Probably a rolling start, a turn and burn. Evan, good morning my friend, hope you're doing well, representing the West Coast. Rick asking if I will be out again tomorrow. Definitely am planning to, although I'm not sure yet what time I'm going to go. I might be doing an early stream, although I haven't decided yet, also weather dependent, but what is more or less the most important reason for me to decide on probably an early stream is that tomorrow in the area that I'm living in, which is in Dutch Bollestreek, in English they call it the flower strip, well known for flower fields, and well, if you're into flowers, you will probably also have heard of the Keukenhof. The thing is that tomorrow, on Saturday, there is going to be a parade with cars that are decorated with flowers in all kinds of shapes. In Dutch, it's called Bloemencorso, and it attracts hundreds of thousands of people. So I'm expecting getting out of town during the day will become very, very difficult. Now, In the early morning, probably still doable. And this is a retro livery from Aer Lingus. Look at that, beautiful. So I am expecting, if I try to go out for an afternoon stream, I probably won't be able to leave the village with the car without getting in serious traffic. But yeah, I'm scheduling to go out, or I'm planning to go out tomorrow and Sunday and Monday as well. All right. Now, if you guys looked at Flight Radar, you will probably have already seen it, but there is a Queen underway. But there's also a Norwegian 737 now taking off from the threshold. I think we have already seen this one before, so let's turn around to what is more interesting at the moment. Air China Cargo. In the meantime, good morning Kathleen, good to see you again. Hope you're doing well. Just in time to see the first Queen of the day go into the air. So this is Air China Cargo, Boeing 747-400 outbound to Shanghai. It is an airplane that is 17 years old. It had its first flight in April 2006. Now I'm happy to say that the sun is starting to come out somewhat over here. Okay, so the haziness doesn't allow me to follow the airplanes for too long, unfortunately. We see another A350 taxiing towards the threshold, China Southern, and lining up at the threshold at the moment is an A330 from Delta. So this A330 outbound to Detroit. So no issues here during takeoff. The gear also seems to have started retracting. All in all, uneventful but solid. Let's turn around quickly to the A350. So this Air A350-900 from China Southern is going to Guangzhou and is 3 years old. Had its first flight in November 2019. Now the other day I added an additional emoji for members to use in the live chat. It is the A350 seen from the front. Alright, so next up is going to be a British Airways Airbus by the looks of it. The question is, will it be departing in front of us or will it first go to the threshold in the distance? In the meantime, let's look at the chat. Goedemiddag Ewald, good to see you. And indeed, Kathleen, it was a Norwegian with a grumpy man. Most of the men grumpy. Hey Evan, thank you so much for your kind donation. That retro plane is looking fine. I sure as hell agree. I think more airliners should do retro liveries. But this one particularly looked very nice. How's the sound, by the way, people? I am pretty sure that last Monday I forgot to turn on the microphone for the voiceover. So you did hear me, but you only heard me through the shotgun mic that is on my camera. So as I moved to the laptop to highlight messages, you could hear me fade away. Now everything should be in order again. Unless there are gremlins at work, because before going live I double checked to see that both mic feeds were on my switcher. So all should be well again. Meanwhile, some ducks are flying over, circling. Maybe they'll touch down over here in the canal. I haven't seen any birds in the water just yet, but you never know when that's about to change, of course. And I see that Kathleen has found the emoji. Evan did too. Queen says that there's a second queen coming. Whoa, whoa, that's nice. Let me have a look on flight radar quickly. Yeah, it does seem that there is a 747-800 from Cathay Pacific underway. Or is that just incoming traffic that is going to the cargo area of the platform? Okay folks, thanks for confirming that the sound is all in order. And Tim is flying back to Amsterdam next Saturday from JFK. Awesome. Which airline will you be flying? KLM, Delta, or another operator? In the meantime, gradually coming this way is an Embraer 175, KLM flight 1519, KLM City Hopper, Embraer 175 outbound to Norwich. 5 years old, first flight was in January 2018. Now, the Cathay Pacific airplane seems to be moving towards the cargo area of the platform, so not sure if that is going to come this way. Maybe they forgot something and have to go back to the gate, to the parking spot, but the other day we also saw some traffic misguided being labeled as incoming, outbound when it was actually incoming, at least on flight radar. Aaron says the 747 turned around. Okay. So maybe they did actually forget something. And Tim is going to fly from JFK to Amsterdam in the 777 from KLM. Awesome. So again, there's wind blowing from the east at the moment, 10 knots or so. These airplanes take off in northerly direction, so there's crosswind from the right. It's almost perpendicular to the runway heading, but it's not too hard, so you do see that the airplanes compensate a little bit by facing the airplane more to the right after takeoff, but well, if I show you the water over here, there are a few ripples, but it's nothing to write home about. Now let's see what is going to come next, because the 747 bailed on us. In the meantime, I see that Phil Tovey also checked in again. Good day to you, Phil. Hope you're doing well over there in Warwick. How's the weather over there in England, by the way, to all our British viewers? Do you guys have sunny weather, or is it also a bit similar to how the weather is over here? Harry offers coffee when I get cold. He lives in Vijfhuizen, which is around the corner literally from where I'm standing. Thank you so much for the offer. For the first time of the year, well, for one of the few times so far, I am working without gloves, and I was even so bold as to leave them at home and my hand warmer. Temperature is okay, it is 12 degrees C, so even when the sun isn't fully out and with the wind blowing, not a whole lot of cold at the moment. Okay, so the 747 probably just relocated on the platform. Maybe we'll see it later. Henky asks, no ducks today? Well, so far, Henky, I haven't seen them. Yeah, I did see a couple of ducks flying in the air just now, but I don't see where they might have landed. I don't see them in the vicinity over here in the water, at least. There is a bird further out in the water. Now let me zoom in the most I can. Oh, 3 actually. But from over here they are a bit, oh yeah, do come this way. Also with backlight, hard to make out any details, at least for me on my 3-inch camera screen, that is. Maybe they'll come over here later. So Kathleen has very sunny and warm conditions, 28 C over there. So quite warm actually for the time of year, I think. Or is that normal for you guys over there? You do have land climate, so you can get warm summers, hot, scorching even sometimes, but 28 C in April, mid-April, wouldn't think that is average. Meanwhile, Yorkshire Biker says that it is cold and rainy in York, 11 degrees. And Phil says that the weather in Warwick is very wet today. Has been raining all day, temperature 9 C. Oh dear. I'm wondering if that is the rain that we had overnight, because due to the high pressure area and its location over Scandinavia, yesterday we had rain coming in from the east, which is also very exceptional for the Netherlands, as we normally always get weather from the west. So hopefully things will improve over there as well in the upcoming days. And Kathleen confirming that it's not normal for upstate New York to have such high temperatures in this time of year already. Paul, thank you so much for your kind donation. You really shouldn't have, but thank you nonetheless. Evan says, boy, remind everyone watching to give a like. Well, in fact, give a like, and if you are new to the channel and you're liking what you're seeing, also consider to subscribe to the channel. Make sure that you then also turn on notifications, so that each time I go live you receive a notification, and if you have the time for it and are feeling like it, you can join us once again for more live action from Schiphol Airport. It also helps greatly to reach a wider audience of people like-minded who are also into aviation livestream content such as this. Now, we are experiencing a bit of a lull at the moment. Let's have a look on flight radar and see what's cooking. So the 747 has taxied further and further away. There are a few airplanes in the vicinity of the threshold of 09, although there also seems to be an airplane from KLM outbound to Helsinki that I think might be coming this way. Let me also double check to see the current runway usage, if that app is at least providing reliable data, which it doesn't always. Yeah, it says still, as it does in the ticker, 36 left and 09 used for departures, 06 used for arrivals. I think that the KLM 737 to Helsinki is going to come this way. It seems to... Well, let me have a look. Can I see it already? Can I show you guys? I think it should be here somewhere. Maybe it's already on the right side of the mount. Or what is it? What is it? Yeah. Don't know how to describe that. I don't know what it's for. Let's see. Now, it should become visible probably on the left hand side in a moment. KLM flight 1169 outbound Helsinki 737-800. 15 years old. First flight was in April 2008. And there are a lot of airplanes active on the platform that, when you filter for outbound traffic, stay on flight radar. A lot of narrow bodies, also a couple of heavies. Now, is it showing just outbound as I wanted? Because, yeah, it does say, the filter does say outbound. I also see a 777 from Emirates Sky Cargo, and it seems to have vacated 06. But according to flight radar, it's from Amsterdam to Frankfurt, but that's apparently not correct. Seems like it was an inbound airplane that just landed. Alright, so the 737, I think, is over there. Now taxiing towards us. The Zurich says, last time we came to Amsterdam it was the hottest day for Holland in 2022. Now, I don't recall exactly when it was, but we did have a period where temperatures reached 40 degrees centigrade over here, a new record. Although I'm not sure anymore if it was in 2022 or if it was in 2021. Could have been 2022. I think that was the first time we ever reached national air temperature of 40 degrees C, so that is 2 times 40 plus 30, that is 120? No, my math is off. So 2 times 40, 80 plus 30, 110 Fahrenheit or so, probably a bit less, more towards 100. Now the thing is that in the Netherlands, when it gets warm, we also almost always have high air humidity. So that makes it even worse. It's not a dry warmth as you would have in more desert-like environments. It's always with high humidity as they have in Singapore, for instance. Well, don't know what will be the next plane to come this way. Don't see anything in the vicinity just yet, but that might change after this airplane has taken off. Lights have just gone on. Probably going to make a rolling start as well. Outbound to Helsinki, Finland. So with the backdrop of clouds and haze, it is a bit difficult to follow these airplanes. Also, if the camera can keep focus on it, just because it is a lower contrast situation. They did say last week that this week we were supposed to have good weather, spring-like, sun, temperatures towards 20 degrees centigrade. Well, look at what has become of it. They do again predict similar weather for next week. More sun, higher temperatures. In the meantime, I'm just waiting and see, and just keep my I'm just keeping my fingers crossed, because we've heard it before a couple of times already, but eventually it will get better. That I know for sure. Now, unfortunately, 09 is still open for departures, as well as 36 left. So traffic density is a bit low at the moment. Coming this way is KLM flight 1325 and Embraer 175 again, outbound to Larsson, and that is a 5-year-old airplane. Had its first flight in April 2018. Now let me have a look and see when the A380 is expected to depart. So let's see, what can we expect? 777 to Dubai from KLM, 777 to Lagos, Dreamliner to Mexico City, all KLM, A330 from Delta to Seattle. Just checking all the heavies. Turkish outbound Istanbul, A330 is also expected. Delta A330 to Boston. United 777 to San Francisco, more than likely to depart from over here. Alright, so where is Boeing 747, Silkway West Airlines, outbound Oslo, estimated to depart around 3:30, so in an hour from now. Emirates to Dubai, the A380 expected to depart 3:37 p.m. local time, so in just over an hour from now. So we will have to be a bit patient in the meantime. So let's have a look and see what will be coming this way next. I think we might see the 767 from Icelandair as our next plane in a few minutes. Icelandair flight 501 returning back to Reykjavik. This time round a 767-300ER that they have sent in the old livery still. Beautiful airplane. Also saw it touch down last Monday as it was coming in on 06. The 767 of today is 25 years old. It had its first flight in October 1997. Now there is a KLM Dreamliner outbound to Delhi also taxiing, but I think it's going to take off from 09 unless of course they are going to close it. But given that they are taking off almost directly into headwind, doesn't seem very likely that is going to happen anytime soon. So I think we see the 767 in the distance. It's probably going to make a left-hand turn and then come this way. Still taxiing parallel to runway 18 center's 36 center. Hey there Thijs, goedemiddag, good to see you. Catching up on the messages in the chat. Somil, good afternoon, good to see you, hope you're doing well. And Kathleen says she does hear ducks. Well, maybe they were there a few minutes ago, but if I look around, I still don't see any ducks in the water. They are playing hide and seek today, and they are doing a good job at it. Maybe if the sun comes out a bit more, they will also show their faces a little more. Well, Samil, I'm doing actually quite well. I was on the phone as I was setting up, and a phone call I was waiting for a couple of days already, and I'm in a very advanced stage of arranging that my Thursdays will also become available for live streaming, probably as of May. So that would allow me, in theory, 5 days a week to do live streaming. So very stoked about that. Hopefully I will make it definitive in the upcoming week. I'm also very excited to hopefully announce a new development for the AMS live channel in a few weeks or so. Might have to do a face reveal for it, but who knows? So busy with ideas and initiatives to further improve the channel, help it grow faster and bigger. So I'm doing really, really well. So for those of you tuning in just now, welcome to AMS Live. My name is Boy. This is the Polderbaan runway 36 left, one of the two runways currently in use for departures. The sun is starting to come out a little bit. Temperature is approximately 12-13 degrees, so around 55 degrees Fahrenheit. The wind is blowing from the east, not hard, 10 knots or so. Mostly cloudy still, but it is opening up a little bit. No precipitation in this part of the land, of the country, for the upcoming hours at least. Now it will be interesting to see if the 767 is going to taxi all the way to the threshold, or maybe if it's going to take off right in front of us. And no, it is going to the threshold. Otherwise it would have taken a right-hand turn and we would have been able to see it come directly towards us. So a double rarity over here, 767s. Don't see them as often anymore as we used to do a couple of years ago. And also still in the old Icelandair livery. If you compare that livery with the one that is currently on the 737 Maxes, I have to say I prefer this one more. I like it better. Now you can clearly see that the sun is starting to come out as it is shining on the airplane, beautifully illuminating it against the dull backdrop of clouds in the distance. Also an old school engine sound that you also don't hear that often anymore. Those higher bypass engines of today definitely bring a different sound to the table. Now also on this side, if I zoom out a little bit, you guys can see that it is actually starting to open up a bit more. Although, if you look in the distance, there you go, the chimneys of the power plant in the Westport area. You do see that wind is blowing from the direction where it is still like such. So time will tell if the sun is going to show its face more, or maybe if it's even going to get more cloudy again. Now they did predict rain showers later tonight, even possibly with thunderstorms in parts of the country, but I think it's mostly the north that is at risk, not so much the middle of the country where we are at the moment. So, Embraer 190 outbound Trondheim, KLM flight 1175, 13-year-old airplane that had its first flight in March 2010. Now in the meantime there is a KLM 737 on the move to the runway threshold. Not going to take off right in front of us, unfortunately. So this is KLM flight 1131, Boeing 737-700 outbound Copenhagen, 13 years old, first flight January 2010. Now, turning around the camera towards the main platform area, I can show you that there is actually another heavy coming this way. Looks like a Dreamliner. In the meantime, thank you so much for your super chat, Henky, for more duckies. Well, fingers crossed, if there are any ducks swimming about, I will definitely show you guys and go into full National Geographic mode. So, JWB asks if there is an A380 going to pass us by today. Well, it's still parked in the distance, as you can see. It is expected to take off in 45 minutes or so. Hopefully it is going to come to this runway. That is still a risk factor. 2 runways open at the moment for departures, one of which is facing more to Dubai than this one. So if 09 is going to stay open until its departure time, then chances of it taking off from over here will be very slim. So if all viewers want to keep their fingers crossed, hopefully together we can make a joint effort to close runway 09 by the time the A380 is expected to leave the gate, so that it's going to take off from where this Dreamliner is now lining up. So this is a Dreamliner outbound to Mexico City, 7879, 7 years old, first flight January 2016. Now I don't know if you guys are hearing it, but the wind when facing this direction does seem to have picked up just a little. It's not storming, but it is also not a mild breeze. That's only on occasion, not the entire time. There are also moments where the wind is more calm. Now the windsock, not exactly fully erect. Now, let's see what flight radar has to tell us in terms of incoming traffic. I think the next airplane will be a 777-200 from United outbound to San Francisco. That is a Transavia. Yeah, United flight 969 is definitely going to come this way. 777-200 ER outbound San Francisco. 22 years old. First flight was in July 2000. Now, many more planes are active on flight radar, but hard to say yet which ones are going to come this way. Now the United triple first going to the left of it, making then a left-hand turn, which makes it seem to come from the left towards us to the right. And Evan says, I don't remember a flight ever going to Mexico while you stream. I think they depart towards Mexico City more in the evening. Aeromexico, I have seen it take... Well, no, I think last Monday I also shot, but that was in the morning, local time. I did shoot, I think, an Aeromexico Dreamliner that was arriving. But they do depart back to Mexico often in the evening when well, at least until recently it was still dark, or already dark I should say. So we have seen the Aeromexico Dreamliners a couple of times before, that I know for sure. And the KLM airplanes too, I remember. Did remember not too long ago there were two planes more or less back to back taking off to Mexico City. The one from Aeromexico, the other from KLM. In the meantime, from right to left in the foreground is going to pass K4, the bird controller, chasing away all unwanted birds from the platform and runway area. Hey, I was hearing something. Where is he? Oh, it's closer by already. Beautiful. Almost a bit like a poodle with fluff around the face and a shorn neck. Shorn? Shaven? I don't know. I think you guys know what I mean. Does seem to be just this one bird. Maybe he's also calling for his friends or her friends. Going under for a little dive. Where will it re-emerge? Ah, there. Oh, seems to have caught something. A little fishy. Lunch. Time for a snack. Also a sip of water to get it down. Well, there you go. In the meantime, there are also some bigger birds that are coming this way. Triple 7-200 from United. We might see an EasyJet Airbus before it. We'll find out in a minute, in a few seconds. And no, the EasyJet is also going to go to the runway threshold. So let's then quickly turn around the camera to the 777, the 25-year-old 777-200 outbound to San Francisco. Indeed, Henky, duck with de hanenkam. En Nelly says dat het een fut is. Beautiful fut. Now folks, if you liked the roar of those GE90 engines and you want to hear them more often, make sure that you subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications so that whenever I go live to record and film these engines more and more, you receive a heads up. You can join us once again for more action from Schiphol Airport. Now quickly going back to the runway threshold for a smaller A320 outbound Manchester, 8 years old, first flight was in October 2014. This airplane is also known as EasyJet flight 22164. And I'm absolutely agreeing with you, Kathleen. The GE90 by far the best engine out there. Don't think that there's any other engine that sings a better tune than the GE90s do. Although the engines on the A350 are also a joy to listen to. So, there it goes. the meantime, if I look to my right, I see two more planes that are coming this way. The first one also taxiing. Three, my apologies. There was already a Transavia 737 almost at the threshold. There is an Embraer from KLM following it. And there's a third plane coming this way. By the looks of it, another Embraer. So this is Transavia flight 5641 outbound to La Palma, 737-800. 12 years old, first flight was in April 2010. It moved a bit quicker than I thought it would. So if you tuned in just now, welcome to AMS Live. My name is Boy, this is the Polderbaan, currently in the configuration runway 36 left. One of the two runways used for departures at the moment. These airplanes take off in northerly direction. The current wind is blowing from the east, approximately 10 knots. So basically crosswind all over. But if you look in the water over here, you see not a lot of waves. Wind conditions aren't too severe. Now, at the moment it is still mostly overcast. The sun did creep out from behind the clouds just earlier a bit. Now it's more cloudy again. Temperature 12 or 13 degrees centigrade. So 55 or so degrees Fahrenheit. In the meantime, another Embraer lined up on the runway threshold. Embraer 190 KLM outbound to Linköping. KLM flight 1181, 9 years old, first flight January 2014. Alright, it's spooling up. Now let's have a look. There is another airplane coming this way. Seems like Air France. I think it might be Air France. And that looks like an A330 Delta. Let's have a look at flight radar, see what's cooking. So this is an A318 in the foreground from Air France, outbound to Paris Charles de Gaulle. Air France flight 1641. The airplane is 17 years old, going to the runway threshold by the looks of it. It had its first flight in April 2006, and there is indeed another A330 from Delta coming this way. Delta Airlines flight 145, A330-300, outbound to Seattle, 16 years old. First flight was in March 2007, and behind it is a Boeing 737-800 from KLM, outbound to Rome. Yorkshire Biker informing us that the 747 is on the move again. If I recall correctly, it was originally outbound to Oslo. So if that is the case, I think it's going to come to the polder ground for takeoff. Now, in half an hour or so, the Emirates A388 is also expected to depart. So, fingers crossed that 09 will close before then. But I'm not counting on it yet. In the meantime, the other two planes are gradually coming this way. I think I can see more airplanes in the distance also taxiing towards us. As the A318 is still holding short, let me have a look on the website that shows the runway usage, and it says that 09 is still open. So that was the smallest of the A320 family members. A318, quite a bit shorter than its bigger siblings. Although the A319 is also not a very big plane, but compared with the A320 and the A321, the difference is quite significant. So looks like the 737 is going to depart first. That's a Boeing 737-800 outbound to Rome. 24 years old. First flight was in April 1999. Alright. Delta Airlines flight 145, A330-300 outbound Seattle, 16 years old, first flight March 2007. Alright, gear is also retracting normally. Now, a couple of narrow bodies are in the vicinity. Lined up is an Embraer. And let's see. Transavia also going to the runway threshold. EasyJet Airbus in the middle. There's a fourth plane coming this way. Hey, is that a... No, that's also a 737. Okay, so everything is going to the runway threshold. Starting with this Embraer 190 outbound to Bologna, 13 years old, July 2009, first flight. Now the Ryanair 737 is lining up behind the three other planes, all taking off from the runway threshold. Now, no time to waste, there is a line forming on the other side. So they are expected to take off shortly after one another. At the threshold at the moment is EasyJet A319 outbound to Birmingham, 13 years old, first flight September 2009. And hey there, Peppy Pittel. Herzlich willkommen. Hope you're doing well. How's life in Innsbruck? Okay, 3-4 more planes are coming this way. There's a Transavia 737 lined up and a Ryanair 737 behind it. So it's getting more busy. At the threshold, 737 outbound to Beirut. So that's interesting, this airplane departing to Beirut. Does that mean then that 09 is now closed for departures and all traffic is coming this way? Did our crossing the fingers actually pay off? That would be terrific, because that means that we are going to see the Emirates A380 probably within half an hour or so, yeah, 20 minutes. So meanwhile, Ryanair 737-800 outbound Dublin, 15 years old. So you're watching AMS Live, my name is Boy, this is the Polderbaan runway 36 left, currently in use for departures. Now the question is, will this be the only runway at the moment, or... Yes, well, hooray then, time to celebrate. According to the website that shows the current runway usage, they have closed 09. This is now again the only runway for departures. You can see there is a line forming, and that also means that in 20 minutes or so from now we will see the daily Emirates A380 Super come this way to take off in front of us. At the moment, 2 runways open for arrivals, 06 and 36 right. Stop Air Portugal, Airbus is spooling up and taking off. So if you just tuned in, wind is blowing from the east, these airplanes now taking off into the north, which means there's basically exclusively crosswind. It's only 10 knots, but still a bit of crosswind. Mostly overcast still, the sun is creeping out from behind the clouds every now and then, but it is still mostly cloudy. Temperature 13 or so degrees centigrade, so just above 55 degrees Fahrenheit. If all is well, we are expecting the departure of the daily Emirates A380 Super within 30 minutes. When I checked earlier, its expected departure time was 37 past 3 local time. So 20 minutes or so. And at the moment, with the current runway configuration, we are expecting it and all other departing airplanes to come to this part of the airfield. Emo, an Airbus from Welling takes to the sky. Okay, another big jet coming this way. First up at the threshold, an Embraer 190 from Lufthansa. Already on the go, no time to waste. Now there's a bird control vehicle. There's a bird control vehicle over there. Haven't heard any fireworks set off just yet. Don't know if it still will. Let's continue then to the threshold. Lined up, EasyJet A320 outbound to Milan, 12 years old. First flight was in March 2011. Now folks, if you guys are liking what you're seeing, do consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. Make sure that when you do subscribe that you turn on notifications so that whenever I go live again, you receive a heads up. And if you have the time for it, can join us once again. Okay, gear is going up. For a moment I thought they might need it to cool the brakes or something. Okay, well, hey, what is that in the distance? Is that the silhouette of a queen? It sure is. Must be the Silkway that we saw earlier but then went back to the platform, the cargo platform. Okay, lined up right now, 777-200 ER outbound to Lagos, KLM flight 587. The airplane, 18 years old, first flight, September 2004. E90 power. Nice to see that the airplane is being illuminated by the sun over there. Because if I zoom out and show you the bigger picture, this is towards the west, this is towards the north, this is towards the east, this is where the wind is coming from. You can see more dark clouds in the distance, this is towards the south. So the sky is more open in the west, but in the direction of the wind. Unfortunately, not a lot of positive things in the air. At the threshold, KLM flight 1317, Embraer 190, outbound Bordeaux, France, 5 years old, first flight February 2018. Now I see a lot of activity in the chat. I'm really sorry that I haven't been able to keep up with all of you. The only thing that I do see is that Yorkshire Biker was so kind to give me a small super chat. Thank you so much, my friend. Really not necessary. Thank you so much for your ongoing work as moderator. Also thanks to Kathleen, Infinity and Paul Usher, my team of moderators who have been so well in moderating the live chat. Round of applause for them. Right, now there's an Embraer 175 lined up at the threshold. I'm going to forego its departure. Instead, zoom in on this 747 that is coming this way. Much more interesting. In the meantime, I see Matt Taylor remarking that spring weather in Europe hasn't been good. Well, you can tell that for sure. It has been a lousy year so far. Hopefully it will get better, and we will get compensated for a good Indian summer in the fall as well. And Stephen Morley says, our rain is heading your way, boy. I sure as hell don't hope that that is the case. I'm fed up with all the rain. Why so much rain? Where's this global warming I keep hearing so much about? So anyway, as Patrick Antwerp also already mentioned, Silk to Oslo. It is coming this way. It was coming this way earlier already, but then it went back to the cargo part of the platform. Alright, so let's have a look. Closer look at this livery. Okay, in the meantime I can see that the Vueling Airbus is following it, so also going to the runway threshold. Two more planes are coming in the distance. Let's also quickly have a look and see what's coming. Looks like two A737 from KLM. And is there something visible? Yeah, that's I think the tail of the A380, probably still at the gate by the looks of it. Alright. Does seem that the clouds are thickening a little bit over here. So after this departure, let me also have a look on the weather radar to double check that no rain is coming this way. Should stay dry, but you never know for sure over here in the Netherlands. So, that was the second queen of the day, if I counted correctly. Okay, now the clouds are just getting a bit dark, but the weather radar says no rain coming yet. Vueling, flight 8435 at the threshold, A320 outbound to Lisbon, 11-year-old plane. First flight was in September 2011, and I almost forgot to check the departing 747. It was 16 years old. First flight of the 747 was May 2006. Having a quick glance at the chat, I see a lot of activity, so everybody who has meanwhile joined us, welcome to AMS Live. My name is Boy, and do partake in the chat if you feel like it. Kathleen already marking, missing a lot of people while distracted. Same goes for me. Hard to keep track of everything that is going on in the chat. A lot of activity in the chat as well as over here at the moment. Vueling A320 outbound Lisbon, Portugal. All right, so I see two more 737s at the threshold and just before it holding short. No other immediate traffic coming this way after these two, so let's have a look. Or not, because it is already spooling up. Stay upright, both hands on the camera and tripod. So I was watching back last Monday's stream when I was filming arriving traffic alongside or at the threshold of runway 06, and after the A380 landed, I think it was the first or the second plane immediately after it, it was an Airbus from EasyJet, registration G/EZUS. Jesus, I thought, oh wow, Jesus has arrived. The coming of Jesus with EasyJet. Okay, second 737 on a roll already. Alright, let's have a look. Seems like there's a CRJ coming this way. SAS. In the meantime, I see Raymond Hurst saying hi from California. So West Coast is represented even more, together with Evan. Good morning to you, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Miro Jankovic will be at Schiphol next Thursday, flying the KLM Dreamliner. Awesome, my friend. I hope the flight will go well. CRJ moving towards the runway threshold. In the meantime, there's also a 737 coming this way. And let me zoom in maximally. I think that is the A380 that is still at the gate. Now let's see what the 737 is going to do. Will it take off before the CRJ, or will it also continue to the threshold? I think it's going to do the latter. Alright, so SAS CRJ, let's have a look. Outbound Copenhagen. 5 years old, first flight August 2017. So that means that 737 is almost there, and in fact has just lined up already. Let's have a look on flight radar. This would be KLM flight 1961, KLM Boeing 737-700 outbound Zurich, Switzerland, 14 years old, first flight March 2009. And Lasse asks, until what time are you streaming, because I'm flying to Singapore tonight? Well, I'm not going to stick around until the evening falls. Probably we'll call it quits somewhere between 5 and 6 p.m. local time. So if your plane to Singapore will depart before then, we might be able to see you. assuming that 09 will be closed at that time, because if it's open then you're going to depart from 09, I'm afraid. As Singapore is lying to the southeast from the Netherlands point of view. Alright. So in the meantime I see that another 737 from KLM is taxiing to the runway threshold. Almost arrived, but if we now look in the distance we see that the Emirates A380 has actually been pushed back. So unless 09 has reopened in the meantime, expect the A380 in 5 minutes, 10 minutes or so. It can cross 18 center, 36 center again, so only a short distance away. Folks, if you really need to go to the bathroom, make sure to go now and be quick, because we will see the Emirates A380 take off in not too long. I think less than 10 minutes. Unless 09 has reopened in the meantime, of course. Let me check that in a moment. Let me first point the camera towards the A380 so that at least you guys can see while I am looking things up. Right. So there is an A319 coming this way first. Now let's go to the app for runway usage. Yep, 36 left, still the only runway open for departures. So that A380, ladies and gentlemen, is going to come this way. Think you might be also able to grab a cup of coffee, because it seems that there are at least 3 other planes, 2 or 3 other planes. Yeah, 3 other planes coming first. The first one being an EasyJet A319 outbound to Berlin. And there's also a TUI Fly Boeing 737-8 MAX 8 outbound to Paphos. Where is that? Oh, that is on Cyprus. Okay, didn't know that. There's also a Swiss A220 to Zurich coming this way, and I see also that there are a few heavies that have become active. K4 just out of the picture on the right, the bird controller also coming this way. We are getting more activity over here, so let me quickly take a sip of water to stay hydrated before the action constantly goes on. I'm looking around and there are no ducks in the canal, unfortunately, so cannot National Geographic graphically show you any thing while we are waiting for the next planes to come closer by. Now let's see what EasyJet Airbus is going to do. Will it be taking a right-hand turn? Nope. So the EasyJet Airbus is going to the runway threshold. That one we know for sure. Meanwhile, the 2 other planes, the MAX 8 and the A320 are also coming this way. I see that there's a Lufthansa CRJ also on the move outbound to Zurich. Let's see, there's a 777 from KLM outbound Curacao coming this way. There's a Delta A330 that is going to Boston that also seems to be on the move over here. So we are awaiting a few heavies in a few moments. So don't go anywhere. Unless you need to go to the bathroom, then go now before the action is beginning. In the meantime, if you guys have just joined us, welcome to AMS Live. My name is Boy. This is the Polderbaan runway 36 left. I always get confused. We have 3 runways that are runway 18 and 36. A left, right and center, and I always try to remember which one it is. I always keep saying the wrong one initially. Now, if you're new to the channel or you're liking this content and you want to see more of this sort of content, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. I go live several times a week, and if you subscribe and turn on the notifications, you get a notification each time I intend to go live. If you have the time for it and are feeling like it, you can join us once again for ever bustling action over here at Schiphol Airport. The MAX 8 from TUI, almost at the threshold. So 2 new generation planes, very quiet, very fuel efficient. Boeing 737 MAX 8. The Airbus A320 that was initially born as the Bombardier C series. Hence, if you look on flight radar, you see BCS, BCS1, BCS3, the 100 and the 300 series. That was a quick retraction of the landing gear. They didn't even finish saying positive rate and the gear was already going up. Now, beautiful airplane. These A320s, bit like the A350s. Sunglasses look, really massive engines compared to the fuselage size. Sleek nose, although I do like the curved winglets on the A350 better than the ones on the A220. And I'm not sure if you guys are able to hear the sound, the volume difference between these several airplanes as well as I do over here, but those A320s are sure as hell very quiet if you compare that with other airplane types. Alright, lined up at the runway threshold, another CRJ. This one, Lufthansa outbound Munich. 12 years old, first flight December 2010. And a lot of movement on the platform over here. 4 or 5 planes, I think. So it is getting more busy, ladies and gentlemen. In the meantime, to all the new viewers who have joined us in the meantime, welcome to AMS Live. My name is Boy. This is the Polderbaan runway 36 left, where we are filming departures taking place. At the moment, once again, this is the only runway for departures. Earlier during the afternoon, 09 was also open, but now everything is coming this way. That takes off. Wind is blowing from the east. These airplanes are taking off to the north, so there's a little bit of crosswind. Wind is blowing not too hard, 10 knots or so. Current air temperature 13 degrees centigrade, approximately 56 or so degrees Fahrenheit. It's overcast, mostly. Here and there are a few patches of blue between the clouds, but only sparsely. No precipitation in the weather forecast for today in this part of the country. Now, it won't be too long before we are going to see the daily Emirates A380 Super that is going to fly back to its home base in Dubai. It has already been pushed back. It is making its way over here. Now, there's a 737 taxiing to the runway threshold. Let me show you what is coming. So there are 2 airplanes, 3 airplanes. I think that's the A380 also on the move over here. A lot of activity on their way over here. In the meantime, welcome to the Aurora Sky Lounge DVK 1991. Thank you for your membership and for your support. Scar says hello from Melbourne, Australia. Hello there, Scar. How are you? And welcome to the stream. In the meantime, you guys can see a lot of planes on their way. Taking off right now, 737 from KLM. Let's pick that up as it is taking off. Now let me quickly zoom out and turn the camera to the right. There is an Embraer that is going to take off right in front of us. Let me have a quick look on flight radar. Give you guys some background information. This is an Embraer 190 outbound to Berlin, 9 years old. First flight was in October 2013. And in the background, Just behind the nose wheel you see the A380 also coming this way. Alright, gear going up, no time to waste. Showtime in a few minutes, ladies and gentlemen. If you need to go to the bathroom, go now. Want to grab a new cup of coffee or cup of tea, do it now. Be back in 5 minutes because otherwise you will miss the A380 taking off. First up, Delta A330 outbound to Boston. It's an A330-300, 15 years old. First flight was in August 2007 and this is Delta Airlines flight 257. Now the GE90s are in a class of their own, but I have to say that the engines mounted on these Delta A330s, when they spool up and they pass you by, not only the sound, but it's also a visceral sensation that you feel because of the sound waves. So loud and also resonating in your belly a little bit. So before the wake turbulence has dissipated and this triple gets the green light, let me have a quick look on flight radar and give you a few background details. This is KLM flight 735, Boeing 777-300ER outbound Willemstad in Curaçao. The airplane is 8 years old, first flight was in February 2015. Now, again, this is a very busy chat today. Cannot see everything, but I do see the new members and the super stickers coming by. AVL Doc, thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate it. Let me quickly go back to the camera because the triple is spooling up and is ready to go. Alright then, showtime. Look at the beautiful vista that you see when you look towards the main platform area. Let me take a quick picture with my camera, a bit higher than making a screen shot later, because I think this might make a good thumbnail to update after I'm done streaming today. Wonderful sight. Now folks, if you guys are liking what you're seeing, do consider subscribing to the channel. Make sure that when you do subscribe to turn on notifications, that way you get an update when I go live. And if you have the time for it and are feeling like it, can join us once again for action from bustling Schiphol Airport. I stream multiple times a week, most of the time between Friday and Monday. I hope that as of May I might also add Thursdays to that. Now the Emirates A380 Super in the standard livery, taxiing toward the runway threshold. Behind it, a Dreamliner from TUI, also very likely to go to the runway threshold. Next up, I think, is that two? Yeah, I think it's two A330s. Let me zoom in. The first one is definitely an A330. Oh no, it's a triple behind it, I think. Yeah. And what's in the distance? A 737. Alright, so what's up? That is Air France? Airbus? A320 or so? Not sure. Anyway, zooming out, you guys can see this is the lineup. Now, quickly, let me give you some background details. The Emirates A380 Super. I think none of the planes over here will take off before it. So let me zoom in. It is a standard livery Emirates A380 800 outbound to Dubai, flight 148, the return flight to Dubai. The airplane 7 years old. Its first flight was in October 2015. The TUI behind it, Dreamliner, is a Boeing 7878 TUI flight 355 outbound to Curaçao Willemstad. 8 years old, first flight November 2014. Now back to the camera, make sure that we film everything that is to film for this Emirates A380. Just look at the size of that thing. Mind-boggling that it can take to the sky. Tail so high you can even see it as it passes behind the ILS boxes or whatever it is. Rotating, and then a few hundred tons of mass leaving the ground, climbing to 10 or so kilometers altitude for a 6.5 hour flight back to the Middle East. What would the Wright brothers think of this if they were around to witness something like this? Don't think that they ever could have imagined that we would take things so far in just such a short time. So again, this is TUI flight 355. Outbound to Willemstad, Curaçao, 8 years old, first flight November 2014. And even the narrow bodies are all lining up behind the big birds to take off from the runway threshold. Nothing is cutting short, no airplanes are cutting short by the looks of it. Now the TUI still has to wait for the wake turbulence of the A380 to dissipate. Otherwise, they're in for a bumpy start. seems that they have been given clearance, spooling up as I speak, so I'll shut up. Right now, the wings are already rising during the takeoff as the speed increases and the lift increases, but look at the curvature that starts to take place when it rotates. More pressure on the wings, and then you can see the typical curvature that you also see in the logo of this channel, coincidentally. Now the gear is going up. The zoom is going out because we are going back to the runway threshold with camera. Next up, KLM Airbus A330-200 outbound to Riyadh, KLM flight 423. The airplane is 16 years old. Its first flight was in July 2006. After that, we are going to see KLM flight 895, that's 777-200 ER outbound to Shanghai, 19 years old, that one. Now there's even a queue that extends to where the airplanes are taxiing from. Now the KLM A330s. No issues with the landing gear that we have seen so far. I'll show you a bit the bigger picture. Now the queue is 4 or 5 planes long, excluding the 777 on the threshold at the moment. So as I was saying, 777-200 ER KLM flight 895 outbound Shanghai, 19 years old. First flight was in January 2004. And after that, we are going to see a few more narrow bodies back to back. Now folks, if you guys are enjoying the content, do consider subscribing to the channel and make sure that when you do, to turn on the notifications so that whenever I go live, you receive a heads up and can join us once again if you are feeling like it and have the time for it. In the meantime, the sun is starting to come out a bit more. We did have overcast conditions so far, mostly. You guys can see that the sun is also illuminating the airplane over there. Seems to be opening up a little bit. Immediately I can feel that it's a bit warmer to the touch, as it was a bit chilly, although definitely not cold. Now in the meantime, another A330 from Delta Airlines has lined up in the queue. Let's have a look. This is a Boeing 737-800 outbound to Glasgow in Scotland. KLM flight 1477, the airplane 22 years old. Its first flight was in December 2000. So everybody who just tuned in, welcome to AMS Live. My name is Boy. This is the Polderbaan runway 36 left. I think at the moment still the only runway in use for departures. Earlier today we've seen two queens. We just saw the king. In the meantime, I think, well, at least in a few moments we are going to see this Boeing 737 go ahead in front of a few other airplanes. Now, in which order they will depart, I don't know yet. It seems that the Air France Airbus at the threshold will take off first. The KLM 737 over here holding short. So let's have a look. Lined up, Air France, flight 1741, going to Paris Charles de Gaulle. Airbus A320, 21 years old, first flight, May 2001. And back to the camera quickly before it leaves the field of view. Now the KLM 737 still holding short. BA lined up at the threshold. So let's have a look. Flight radar says BA flight 435 outbound London Heathrow, A320-200, 20 years old, first flight November 2002. Alright, gear up. Now, the 737 from KLM still holding short over here. So it is the EasyJet Airbus at the threshold that will go first. Meanwhile, it seems that... Oh no. Alright, so this is a Neo A320 Neo outbound to Glasgow. Brand new, was delivered last December. Or at least its first flight was last December. So still holding short. So next up is going to be the Delta A330. Delta Airlines flight 165 outbound Minneapolis A330-300. Oh, I was wrong. Damn it. It had its lights out still when I checked just now. It wasn't moving. And just as I pointed the camera to the right and started looking on my phone screen, the SOB started moving. Well, anyway, there you go. This is Schiphol Airport, land of unexpected surprises. If not in terms of clearance, then at least the runway usage. For those of you checking in just now, welcome to AMS Live. These airplanes are taking off from runway 36 left into the north. The wind is blowing from the east, 10 knots or so, bit of crosswind but nothing too hard. As I was saying, this A330 outbound to Minneapolis, 6 years old, spooling up, back to the camera it is. And there's a 777 from KLM. Taxiing to the threshold. We'll take off next after this one. Alright, gear is also retracting. Time for me to zoom out again, turn around the camera because there's a 777 already lined up at the threshold. And as soon as the wake turbulence of the A330 has dissipated, it's going to get the green light. So this is KLM flight 681, 777-300ER outbound to Vancouver. The airplane is 13 years old. Its first flight was in May 2009. And seems that after that, we are going to have a small break, but I see the next plane already in the distance taxiing this way. Seems like a heavy, might be another triple. Hard for me to see from over here. Spooling up. So as you guys can see, it is overcast here mostly. The wind is blowing from the east. These airplanes take off into the north. Current air temperature over here 13 or so centigrade, so that is just over 55 degrees Fahrenheit. There is a little bit of precipitation expected for tonight. I think mostly for the northern half of the country, more north of where Schiphol is. Now, there is a triple underway. I haven't had time to look at the chat. I see a lot of new viewers in the meantime, so welcome everybody to AMS Live. And let me see, a lot of people also in the chat active. By all means, do participate in the chat. Unfortunately, I am a one-man band operating the camera, looking at the chat and flight radar in on my own, so not able to see all of the messages. Apologies for if you sent me a question or anything and I missed it. So there's also another Airbus from British Airways coming this way in the background. The 777 in the foreground. China cargo, you guys can see it clearly. 777 freighter on its way to Shanghai. 13 years old. It's moving to the runway threshold. First flight of this airplane, January 2010. And as it's moving to the runway threshold, let's have a look and see what the BA is going to do, because I think it might be coming this way. British Airways A320-200, flight 439, outbound London Heathrow, 13 years old, first flight March 2010. Okay, so BA Speedbird also going to the runway threshold by the looks of it, so then it's time for us to turn back to the triple. Now I do hear a bird calling here, but looking to my left, see if I can spot it. Oh, I think I have. I think I might have. There it is. Well, some feathered friend is begging for some attention. You guys can probably hear it as well. Now, let's turn around the camera. Nicely illuminated by a patch of sunshine, at least just now. BA flight 439 outbound London Heathrow, 13-year-old plane, first flight March 2010. Of course, they always have to wait a little bit for the wake turbulence of such a heavy airplane to dissipate. probably on the move any minute now. In the meantime, I can see that there are 3 more planes coming this way. EasyJet A319 outbound London Gatwick. Embraer 175 outbound to Gdansk in Poland. Another Embraer to Belfast. Alright, well, let's go. Alright, gear is going up. In the meantime, the next 2 planes gradually coming this way. Let's see where they are going to take off from. If it's going to be right in front of us or if it's going to be from the runway threshold. Gives me a few moments to have a look in the chat. I see that Kathleen has been added again. Thank you so much again, Kathleen. Really, this is uncalled for. You really shouldn't have, but thank you nonetheless. You are, without a doubt, one of the kindest people that I have ever seen here on YouTube, handing out free memberships to new members over and over again. And welcome to all new members to the Aurora Sky Lounge. In the meantime, is runway 09 open or not? Has it reopened? Let me have a look. Is everything still going to 36? Oh, I see that 09 has now also reopened again. So that does provide some breathing space for me, but that also means that not all airplanes are coming this way anymore. I already see a few interesting heavies lined up. Take off from 09, a couple of heavies. Well, we'll see what comes this way. For now, there's plenty more coming still. First up, this EasyJet, which, if I recall correctly, is off to London Gatwick. Oh, some birds got chased away. Oh, they're hard to. Oh, they really hard to spot with their camouflage colors and the grass. So at the runway threshold lined up right now is KLM flight 1921 outbound to Gdansk, Embraer 175, 5 years old, first flight October 2017. I think I can hear one of the 777s that were lining up for departure from 09. Spool up and take off to Beijing, one of them. Obviously, if 09 is open, then it makes for a logical choice to let all eastbound airplanes take off from over there. Interesting all the more then that this airplane to Gdansk is coming this way, or was coming this way. Next up, KLM flight 947 Embraer 190 outbound to Belfast, 13 years old, first flight January 2010. Alright, now another Embraer from KLM, forgoing the entrance over here, so also going to the runway threshold. Let me quickly look at flight radar. This is an E2 Embraer 195 outbound to Dublin, KLM flight 937, 2 years old. First flight February 2021. Let me have a look on flight radar, see what more traffic is underway. It seems that there are 2 Embraer 190s, one to London City and one to Göteborg, also coming this way. Now, unfortunately, I see a 747-800 outbound to Hong Kong from Cathay Pacific, and it is lining up, or it is taxiing to the queue to depart from 09. So that's a bit of a shame. Not much you can do about it though, but still, would have been nice. We have had 2 747-400s so far. Now I can also see it lining up behind the rest of the queue in the distance. Might be able to show you after the departure of this E2 Embraer 195 outbound to Dublin. If I had to call it, I would say that these E2 Embraer 195s together with the A320s currently are 2 of the quietest airplanes. A320 and 21 Neos are also very quiet, but I think these might be the quietest of them all. Now, there she goes, Cathay Pacific. Unfortunately, not coming this way today. Outbound to Hong Kong. and taking off from 09. Now, the first plane to come this way is the chocolate liveried German Airways Emirates Embraer Embraer 190 outbound to Gothenburg in the Leysieffer Chocolaterie livery, registration D Apri, 15-year-old airplane, first flight January 2008, and it's being followed. Oh, sorry, it was the second one. The first one is indeed BA flight 8454, operated by BA City Flyer, outbound to London City, also an Embraer 190, 12 years old, first flight January 2011. My mistake. Right. Another sip of water. Quick scroll through the chat. Still active and bustling as much as it is out here with airplanes. Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, thank you so much for your kind donation. Great job, love the stream. Well, thank you so much. That's why I'm out here, and also because I like this a lot myself. Obviously, otherwise you wouldn't be doing this. Happy to hear that you guys are enjoying yourselves as well with the stream. So, the chocolate German Airways Embraer is going to the runway threshold to take off. The BA is already there almost, so let me turn around the camera. In the distance, another Embraer by the looks of it. Seems like for now a couple of narrow bodies back to back. First one, this BA City Flyer outbound to London City. So just a quick crossing of the North Sea. What is it, 40-minute flight or so? As the crow flies, of course. London not too far away from Amsterdam. Just a body of water in between that makes it a bit difficult to go there by car. Gear up. Now, while not as crowded and busy as earlier, traffic does seem to be picking up again. The Chocolaterie liveried German Airways is already lined up. If I look further out to the main platform area, it seems that there are those two Embraer 195s behind each other, E2 Embraers. I think it might be. Yeah. Flight radar. One look at flight radar confirms that. So, fans of the E2 Embraer 195, if you guys are in luck, we are about to see two back-to-back depart. Almost feel myself grow fat just by looking at this livery full of chocolatey goodies. Now the DAPRI German Airways Embraer, a frequent visitor of Schiphol Airport. Not too long ago we even saw it take off twice. First in the beginning of the stream to Düsseldorf, and then 3 hours later again taking off to Gothenburg after having flown back from Düsseldorf to Amsterdam already. So now here's something that I think that's an airplane that is flying higher than the clouds. Or is it just the wind? Well, might also be the airplane that is taxiing towards us, but I think it is a narrow body, so I'm a bit surprised by the volume. I think it's just the direction of the wind amplifying the volume that you normally would hear. Because if I look, it is just an Embraer 190 or 175. That sounded a bit louder than I was used to hearing. Then again, the wind is blowing into the direction I'm standing in, so that might make the sound more amplified. Okay, so this is the first of the two consecutive Embraer E2 195s. This one, KLM flight 1449, outbound Aberdeen, 1 year old, first flight November 2021. And the next one is going to Stavanger, KLM flight 1203, also 1 year old, first flight February 2022. Alright, first one of the two consecutive E2 Embraer 195s has taken off. The second one will be going in a moment. Now folks, if you guys are new to the channel but you are liking what you've seen so far, do consider subscribing to the channel and make sure that when you do, to turn on notifications so that whenever I go live again, and I typically go live, try to go live on each day between Friday and Monday, and hopefully soon Thursday too. Anyway, the day is proceeding in just after the weekend and the weekend days. So if you like what you see and you subscribe, turn on notifications, you get a heads up each time I go live, and if you have the time for it and are feeling like it, can join us once again for the action that always is happening over here at Schiphol Airport. In the meantime, the second of the two consecutive E2 Embraer 195s taking off. Now you're watching AMS Live, my name is Boy, this is the Polderbaan runway 36 left. One of the two runways used for departures at the moment. Earlier it was the only runway, at the moment it is shared again, all the outbound traffic with 09. Wind is blowing from the east, As you guys can see, the sun is out, or at least it's starting to get out a little bit more. Still mostly overcast, although the clouds are opening up just a little. Temperature approximately 12-13 degrees centigrade, so that is approximately 55 or so Fahrenheit. There's no precipitation expected for the upcoming hours. We might see some rain showers in the north of the country overnight. It's all taking place north of Schiphol, most likely. So if you're not only new to the channel but also new to Schiphol Airport, this is the Polderbaan, the latest edition, built 20 years ago in 2003. Now you already probably have seen the control tower of the main platform area in the distance. And in passing, you probably have seen the control tower over here as well. You might be wondering, hey, is that a second control tower? It is, because as you guys can see, it is a bit hazy. You can already see how far the main control tower is removed from this runway. So imagine if it is a bit more hazy or even foggy, you wouldn't be able to see all the traffic and all the actions going on over here. So Polderbaan has its dedicated control tower over here, ATC control tower. Little lift that takes you up and down, and it also has its own dedicated fire station over here. That is over here. Also one of the places where there is a windsock, so you can visualize the wind. Typically in the morning you see a morning round of the firefighters. They have 3 8-wheeled vehicles that they drive behind each other around the perimeter of the runway just to do a check. Maybe also to make sure that the vehicles are working properly. Don't know that for sure, but seems logical as it has to function when called for. Now, let's have a look. In the meantime, and for some reason today all the narrow bodies that are coming this way are all taxiing towards the runway threshold instead of departing right in front of us. I was setting up exactly here because you have such a great view of the exit entrance over here, but unfortunately traffic taking off from over here has been sparse. Now in the distance I don't see any more traffic in the immediate vicinity coming this way. Let me double check that. Oh yeah, there are a few more Embraers coming this way. Seems that now rush hour for the UK bound airplanes is picking up. Let me quickly take a sip of water. so that I don't dehydrate too quickly. Then go back to the camera, turn around the camera to the runway threshold where the EasyJet Airbus is about to enter the runway. Let me have a look on flight radar and see where it is going to. So this is EasyJet flight 22518, outbound London Luton A320 200, 8 years old, first flight July 2014. So at least for the time being, the sun is starting to come out a bit more. Let me show you guys the big picture. So these airplanes are departing into the north. So this is facing north. If I show you guys the west, where the sun is also at. I'm leaned in a very awkward position now, so won't be able to show you exactly where the position of the sun is. This is the west. Back to the north again. Now this is to the east where the wind is blowing from, or at least on ground level. Doesn't necessarily have to mean that the clouds are also coming from the same direction. And this is to the south. Now you guys can probably already tell if you look in the water. A few waves, not too much. I think the wind is also starting to lie down a little bit compared to an hour or so earlier. You can see the reflection of the ILS boxes in the water, pretty good. Zooming in to the Vattenfall power plant in Amsterdam Westport area. You do see that the smoke is coming more or less this way. Now, don't see any water birds over here in the water. There is just in the distance a single bird. I think it is one of the fute. But I am by no means a bird expert, so whatever I say about birds might as well be all wrong. In the meantime, two more Embraers approaching the runway threshold. The first one is an Embraer 175, outbound to Darlington, 5 years old, first flight February 2018. And then we have the second KLM Embraer, which is KLM flight 919, Embraer 190, outbound to Southampton, 9 years old, first flight December 2013. And I see that people are correcting me as unsurprisingly I mentioned something incorrect about birds. So these are grebes or meerkoeten. Well, there you go. It's a good thing I don't have to make my living identifying birds then. Alright, well, even though this is not the only runway in use anymore for departures, traffic certainly is not, well, it's slowed down, but it's definitely a continuous trickle, more or less, which makes for an absence of lulls, so that is very nice. Although I would like to have seen more heavies coming this way than currently is the case. Now we'll have to see until when the runway 09 remains open, and I must say I'm a bit surprised to see that all these narrow bodies are continuing their taxi to the threshold instead of over here. So there's an Embraer 190 now taxiing to the runway threshold, KLM flight 1549, outbound to Leeds, 11 years old, first flight January 2012. The second airplane that you guys see now on the left coming this way is KLM flight 1489, another Embraer 190, outbound to Humberside, 13 years old, first flight February 2010. Will it then come to take off in front of us, or will it also continue its taxi? And the answer is yes, it is also going to the runway threshold. So then it's time for me to turn around the camera to the Embraer already lined up, because it will take off soon, I'm expecting. Alright, now second Embraer is also at the threshold. I thought I saw something in the distance. What is that? Is that Aeromexico? I think it is. I think it might be the Aeromexico Dreamliner to Mexico City. Now that is definitely an airplane that might be coming this way. And Kathleen confirming that. Thought I saw something resembling a Dreamliner on the move, so Aeromexico will definitely take off from this runway, I can tell you that. Now, oh, I see that it's already picking up again. Aeromexico is the one and only heavy. The rest is narrow bodies, but it is going to get busy again. Now is 09 still open? I don't see any traffic lining up for 09. Let me quickly glance at the runway usage app. Well, it still says 09, but it might be lacking behind, and maybe in 5 minutes it will change, because I see only traffic coming this way. Don't see anything lining up or taking off from 09 anymore. So that might be good news, because then it will get more busy again. Now hopefully not all heavies have departed already. Hopefully there are still a few more that will come in the upcoming, well, time that this runway will hopefully be the only runway open for departures. In the meantime, the sun has disappeared behind the clouds again over here. Has been on and off all afternoon. Immediately it feels a bit more cold. Also looks very dramatic. If you look in this direction, you would almost think it will start to rain anytime soon. So just to make sure that it isn't, let me double check the weather radar in the meantime. Okay, so there is a bit of activity forming in the east of the country by the looks of it. Although it's not expected to come this way, but it does explain why the clouds are looking a bit more dark. The difficulty with rain formation is that if it intensifies and activates further, the prediction for 1 or 2 or 3 hours ahead of the weather radar might not be very accurate, because it doesn't calculate the formation of new precipitation. So even though the weather radar says it's going to stay dry in the upcoming hours, I will keep a close eye out, because if it is going to rain, I will have to wrap it up and pack everything in soon. I do always carry some stuff with me that I can cover my gear with. So it's not that they need to, that they cannot stay out in the rain for a little bit, but I don't have a rain cover, for instance, with me for my camera, so I will have to put it in my bag, and also put a garbage bag over my bag to keep it from getting wet if it were to start raining. Hopefully it won't come to that. In the meantime, things are getting a bit more busy over here. You can see the Aeromexico Dreamliner, also number 3 at the moment. Now there's also an Embraer that is coming directly towards us. I think the EasyJet will take off first. So, EasyJet A319 outbound Manchester, 15 years old, first flight June 2007. I saw one of the bird controller vehicles, but it left behind a bit of grass mound. It was nice to see the size comparison between the car and the not too distant away from it airplane. But I was too late in noticing it and turning around the camera. right, gear up. Let's see, who's next? No lights on, so I'm guessing it is going to be the 737 to be next. So this is KLM flight 1431, outbound Birmingham, 737-800, 23 years old. And quickly back to the camera. Okay, I think that now the Embraer is taxiing onto the runway. Yep. So, Embraer 190, KLM flight 1149, outbound Oslo, 13 years old. First flight, September 2009. Okay, Air Mexico Dreamliner outbound Mexico City, most likely. Air Mexico flight 26, Boeing 7879 Dreamliner, indeed, outbound to Mexico City, 4 years old, first flight March 2019. Now folks, if you guys are liking content like this, be sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already. Make sure that when you have subscribed to turn on notifications so that whenever I go live again, you receive a heads up and can join us once again for content similar to this. Just look at the wings as it rotates and more force is being put on the wings. They curve even more. Take on that characteristic shape. Now, if you've ever seen documentaries about the Dreamliner, you'll know that these wings can flex even far further than they are doing in daily operations, almost being bent vertically before snapping into pieces. Insane, the technology that goes into this. Meanwhile, at the threshold, KLM flight 1757, Embraer 175, outbound Bremen in Germany. Airplane is 6 years old, first flight July 2016. And after that, I don't see any more airplanes coming this way just now. Okay, so 09 seems to be open again. No traffic on the way to this runway. Will they close it then? Well, the app says it's still open. Right. Well. There she goes. Interesting. They must have reopened 09 just now because Bremen also lies to the east of the Netherlands. So you would think that if runway 09 was open already that they... Okay, so that might explain why there's a lull on flight radar in terms of inbound traffic. You guys probably heard the fireworks as well. Happy New Year to each and every one of you. K2 setting off some firecrackers. One of the many birth controllers over here at Schiphol Airport, boarding any unwanted